Yes.
Hello, Acharya. I'm Prakash, and I have been associated with you for almost like last 1.5 years, and it has been great journey. So many changes, and it was toughest. Today, I'm so happy. First of all, blessed that you are here, and secondly, today even my wife. It was so tough for her to to finally get accepted. For me, it was a lot of work, and even today morning we have discussed so much. And I'm glad that she, with your blessing, she came forward and spoke so nice about your teachings and the changes which sees in me, the positive ones. So my question today is on the recent episode of Kancha Gachibowli, which is all is happening there, and then student protest has gone to the extent that even Supreme Court and a lot of social media attention is there, and Supreme Court has also got involved. I understand that it is like in such matters, Supreme Court will not be involved all the times, right? Because this is a rare event. So my question is like what kind of, such for these kind of events, what role or awareness we should have in the society or the parents or the schools itself? And what other thing I have noticed is that there's no celebrity as such has come forward for such kind of event or such kind of, which has never happened. And so I would like you to just bring us some light on that.
You see, two things. Firstly, the kind of awareness you're talking of in cases like Kancha Gachibowli, that awareness is lacking not only in the general population but also among the celebrities. So just as the common folk are largely indifferent, because I may say they are relatively uneducated when it comes to these matters of prime concern, so are the celebrity. That's one part of it. The second part is celebrities have a voice, but then they are also vulnerable targets. So if a celebrity in today's environment raises his or her voice against something being done by the establishment or at the behest of the establishment, then that celebrity is an easy catch, right? All you require is a few policemen knocking at your door and taking you away on some pretext or the other, and even carrying you away might be an extreme step that is not always needed. A phone call from somewhere, right? Or a quick notice or email from a particular department, all that can suffice. And if that celebrity happens to represent the voices of lakhs or millions, then just by shutting up the celebrity, all those lakhs and millions have been silenced at once. So that's a very risky and vulnerable tactic, right? We do not want to put, as we say, all our eggs in one basket. No? Old saying. Then how can we want to make one person the representative of a million voices? Right? You are giving the opponents or the perpetrators of inequality, brutality, or environmental destruction a sitting duck to hurt, to shoot at, to put behind the bars? No? If you all say, for example, here sitting all of you, if you say, I'm going to be a voice, let's say I'm declared a celebrity, and you say, you will be our voice, you will be your representative, you will be our face, then something very risky has been done, and that makes that whole movement very vulnerable. Now the government doesn't have to deal with each one of you. The government has to deal with only one person. And we won't always remain face to face, would we? So here we are, and we are together, and we can have solemn pledges, and we can take vows and pass resolutions and say we are all together and united in this fight. We can say all those things. And what happens then? I go back to my house, and there I'm all alone, and something is done to me, and there, this entire gathering cannot come to defend me, and then I can be blackmailed or arm twisted or coerced. And then just by strangulating this one person, this entire movement, this entire force, the might of this entire collective has been silenced. Silenced. And you won't even get to know. I might be pressurized into striking a deal with the establishment. No? I might betray you, backstab you, right? I might go back and let's say I have a family, I have a wife and kids. And I might find that my wife runs an organization, and some pressure is being put on the finances of that organization. A particular loan from a government bank is at stake, or a particular notice from the tax department is hanging over our head, something. And because I'm related to my wife, so I too experience the related pressure, and then I give in. Don't people give in? Don't people cop out? So I too will do that, and you will never get to know. And so you will just keep waiting in expectation that here I am, your honest representative, and I'll represent your interests honestly, forcefully, adequately in front of the authorities, and you will never even come to know that I have just sold myself out. Does that seem to be then a good strategy to rely on celebrities? Because celebrities are individuals, and all individuals are vulnerable to all kinds of pressures, temptations, coercions, blackmails, and whatnot. So what has happened in the case you're referring to, sir, is probably just the right thing to happen. Zero or very little celebrity support. The faceless and anonymous students themselves took things in their hands. There was a significant agitation within the campus and also outside the campus. And then the courts had to take suo motu cognizance of the happening. That's the best way the thing could have unfolded. No? No, you cannot just pick up any one student, and by pressurizing that one student, you can silence the agitation. That is not possible. Because the ownership and leadership stands distributed. If you are silenced, then she will take it up. If he is put behind bars, then some other face will rise and say, come on, yes, together we are. So the usual traditional model of leadership where one person would lead and show the way is probably not the most effective for these times. Because the more you bet on just one individual, the more you are exposing yourself to a targeted attack. Targeted attack. Who is easier to target? This lone individual as he stands here, or an entire crowd as they sit here dispersed, and not just here, at several places? What's more difficult to target and contain? Please tell me. More difficult. This single person is a sitting duck. Easy to target, so easy to target. And if you don't have a voice of your own, you will find that this person can so easily either just buckle down or betray you. Because people are people. We are all flawed and imperfect beings, no? Nobody can stand firm beyond a point. And the more you put the collective weight of your expectations on one person, the more he becomes vulnerable to torture, to blackmail, to pressure, to all kinds of things. So we need individual responsibility. And that brings us to the role of education. How can you be individually responsible? How can you say that no, we do not necessarily and exclusively rely on one particular teacher or leader? My life, my responsibility. How can you do that if you are not well educated in these matters? Please understand, the traditional model of leadership, in spite of all its pluses and goodnesses, is an authoritarian one. No? One person standing aloft a higher stage, occupying a podium, and then guiding all the ignoramuses like a Pied Piper. Not a pretty egalitarian scene, I am suppose, or is it? It's not, right? That model is now outdated and ineffective. We need leaders without followers, which means each person has to be her own leader. You don't need a crowd to become a leader. You need a conscience to become a leader. More than conscience, you need consciousness to become a leader. You don't need a crowd of followers. That's a traditional thing. I am a leader when I have 100 people behind me. And if I can have 1,000,000 people behind me, I'm a bigger leader. That's a traditional thing. No. Today, we all will have to be our own leaders. And that is possible only through education. Unfortunately, that kind of education is not provided by the traditional education system. No. There is no education system that sufficiently tells us of why felling all the trees in a 400-acre area is just not right. No. We are told in vague terms of things like deforestation, reforestation, afforestation, climate change, soil erosion. That doesn't help. That doesn't help. We aren't told how biodiversity is such a vulnerable thing that if a few species go extinct, it's not only those few species, but actually 10 times more the number of species that has been put at grave risk. All these things have not been taught to us. So we need to educate ourselves on our own. We need to understand that for our own sake and for the sake of our kids, it's necessary that we know that things are apocalyptic right now. That we are well and truly into the 6th mass extinction phase. When you know this for yourself, then you don't look out externally for a leader, because now it's your own personal matter. It's a thing of your own life and the life of your loved ones. Will you say, I don't have a leader, therefore I won't act now? Ma'am, it's your life. If you don't get a leader, how will you not act? We have a few kids here. Will the parents wait for somebody else to come and support if the kids are threatened? No, they'll do whatever is in their own hands. And today, yes, we have come to that point. We'll have to do whatever we can without waiting for any external party, agency, leader, or charismatic individual to support us, defend us, or represent us. Are you getting it? This is the Anthropocene. This is the Anthropocene. It is not about that limited 400-acre area. We have had 5 mass extinctions on this planet before as well, and 3 of them were due to exactly the same reason that accounts for the present one. Excess carbon dioxide in the environment. You understand? The only difference is that this time the excess carbon dioxide is man-made. Earlier it was due to some natural events. This time it is not natural events. This time it is the work, the crime of a single species on this planet, Homo sapiens. It's not happening because of volcanic eruptions or because some great rock has come and hit the planet. No. It is happening because of us. And when we talk of mass extinction, unfortunately, we are not talking of only our species, the culprit species going extinct. Mass extinction means that all the species, 99% of the species will go extinct. In fact, our species, the one responsible, the criminal species, the convict species, our species will probably among the last ones to go totally extinct. Firstly, because we are very numerous, 8+ billion of us. And secondly, because out of these 8+ billion, there is the top 0.1 percentile that controls a disproportionate amount of money, technology, and political power. So they'll be able to save their skin and hold on, hang on for very long. Which means technically the species, our species, won't have gone extinct because some members of the species, the very privileged members, the billionaires and the politicians and the controllers of the media, some members of the species would have survived. So technically, we would still not be extinct. We'll be there as a species to see the extinction of every species that you have known. How many species have you known? Think of peacocks, think of dogs and cats and cows. Think of the little ants, think of the birds. Think of all the animated life you witness in the jungle, and we'll see it go. We have seen it go. This is the education that we need. Otherwise, there is going to be no response from the public in general. Over the last 50 years, just the last 50 years, hold your breath please. Over the last 50 years, 70 to 80% of all wildlife has been wiped out by human beings. Take a few seconds to process that. Just over the last 50 years, in our own lifetime. So when you were born, if there were 100 creatures in all the jungles over the earth, only 20 to 30 of them are left today. 20 to 30. Any guesses on how many species are going extinct per day? You understand extinction, right? What does extinction mean? Gone, never to return. Gone irreversibly. That's extinction. You will never see a member of those species ever again. That's extinction. Permanent, irreversible. Per day, how many species do you think are going extinct today? Yeah? Hmm? The number has run up to close to 1,000 now. 1,000 species are going extinct every day. Every day. Every day. That's what we are doing. And it's a web. It's a web. You cannot have one species existing when others are disappearing. Everything is related to everything else. The shape of our body is related to the distance of our planet from our sun. If Earth were only 10% more distant from the sun, it would be so cold we wouldn't have survived. Our skin, our bodies can survive in very narrow temperature ranges. If the radius of the Earth had been a little more or a little less, you wouldn't have had the same height as you have today. Your heart won't be beating at the same rate as it does today. Because if the size of the planet changes, then the atmospheric pressure changes. Right? Atmospheric pressure is related to the gravity that the planet exerts on the atmosphere. And your heart must exert enough pressure that counterbalances the atmospheric pressure. Otherwise, our veins would simply collapse under the atmospheric pressure or burst if the pressure is too low outside. Do you understand? The Western model is that one thing is separated from the other thing. A model of isolation. Whereas wisdom lies in seeing that everything is connected to everything else. You destroy one thing and there is no way other things are going to stand for long. That's the education we need today. Now, this education involves both a scientific aspect and a spiritual aspect. You have to know about yourself, why we are so destructive, why do we want to bring down everything just for our own amassment, amusement, greed, and fun, and what it does to the entire world when we exploit all natural resources for the sake of our ignorance. Both kinds of educations are needed. If those educations are not there, then we'll just coolly walk past a burning jungle. We'll never understand that it's a matter of my own house, my own life, my family, and hence it's my individual responsibility. I cannot wait for a leader or a court to intervene. Do you understand? If you get a disease in your body, do you want the Supreme Court to do something about it? If your child fails an examination, do you want a great leader to do something about it? You act on your own, right? You act on your own. The problem is we do not understand this planet is our home and only home. We think we are some kinds of travelers or tourists over here. No, we are not travelers or tourists. We arise from this soil and we go back to the soil. You have not come from somewhere else. And there is no other world or lok you are returning to after your death. You arose from the soil and you will return to it. And once you realize that in this way you are going to stay here eternally, why won't you want to take care of your planet? Because your planet is not your planet. Your planet is you. Your planet is who you are. This body is this planet. And if this body is this planet, and you want to take so much care of your body, cosmetics and this and that, won't you want to take care of the very stuff your body is made of? Your body is made of this planet. No amount of cosmetics will help once the planet is gone. And the planet is already mostly gone. 10 years back, when I would discuss the specter of climate change, I would implore my audiences, I would say, kindly think how you would answer history's questions. The future generations will have prickly questions to ask. And you'll be ashamed. The future generations will ask you, when all this was happening, where were you and what were you doing? Now I no more take this line. Because there might be no future generations. Because this might be the very end of history. Because there might be just no one to even ask this question. What were you doing when all this was happening? This destruction of forests and ecosystems. We are already 1.5 degrees above normal. And that has set in motion all kinds of feedback loops. And they are now not stoppable. They are irreversible. Even if we stop emitting carbon, those cycles will now proceed on their own. We are talking of cycles that further the emission of carbon. Are you getting it? Since we are talking of felling of trees here, I usually mention the snow and the glacial feedback loops to start with. But let's talk of the cycles related to trees. What is a tree? For the purpose of our discussion, in a simplified way, a tree is a great mass of carbon dioxide turned into wood. Now, commonsensically, we all know wood is not just carbon dioxide. If you burn wood, it is not just carbon that is left behind. You get all kinds of things. So many elements and everything. But a lot of it is just carbon, right? When you burn wood, what are you left with? Some black stuff, Yeah, that's carbon. So that's what a tree does. That's what a tree does. Obviously, it takes in other things as well. Nitrogen, potassium, magnesium, zinc, all kinds of minerals are found there. Obviously, iron, oxygen, hydrogen, everything. But a lot of carbon. So a tree takes in carbon from the atmosphere. We are talking of all this in context of the massive and indiscriminate felling of trees that we were to recently witness, and it has been stopped, but we do not know for how long. So a tree takes in carbon and turns it into wood. So carbon dioxide is now no more in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide has been taken in and has been turned into wood and twigs and trunk and leaves and flowers and fruits and all kinds of things. Right? All those things have resulted from the atmospheric carbon dioxide, among other things. A lot of things involved, but carbon dioxide as well. So that's what a tree does. So the atmospheric carbon has been captured in the form of a tree. A tree could be defined as a structure that captures atmospheric carbon and keeps growing. The more it grows, the more you can obviously see that carbon is being stored in the tree. What happens when you hack down a tree?
It will decompose.
It's organic matter, and organic means carbon. We know that. Yeah. It releases all the carbon. Not only has the absorption of carbon stopped, please understand, not only has the absorption of carbon stopped, but there is a double whammy. Firstly, now it will no more absorb carbon. Secondly, now that it lies here, it will rot and release carbon, or it will burn and release carbon dioxide. This is what the death of a single tree does to the environment. And we are talking of a point when feedback loops are already in motion. A single tree gone, a single death of a single tree brings this planet even closer to the final calamity. And I'm assuming that the final calamity can still be averted. There are a lot of scientists who are saying, no, it is inevitable. You cannot stop it now. The temperatures will rise not just to 2 degrees or 3 degrees, they will rise by 5 degrees, 8 degrees, 10 degrees. And we are talking of the average rise in temperatures. The average is just the average. The spikes that you will have, they will exceed even 10 degrees. So in places like Dubai here, you can have temperatures running up to 60 degrees. 60 degrees. In India, you already have heat waves. You know, we have places that have heat waves in winters now. We have places now that have heat waves in winters.
Last year, before last year, this time the temperature was so high, but now it's changes. Last year, the heavy rain.
Yes.
Also, the heavy rain was the effect of, I think.
Yes. You see, when there is excess heat captured in the atmosphere, that's what carbon dioxide does, right? It's a greenhouse gas. What's the greenhouse effect? What's the greenhouse effect? These molecules, they capture heat. In general, you receive radiation, and that radiation has to then escape back to space. And that maintains a particular temperature, and that has happened since millions of years, right? The sun heats up the planet by way of radiation. And then what happens to the radiation you have received? Why are clear nights cooler than cloudy nights? Because in clear nights, the radiation just goes back. Whereas when there is a cloud cover, it's warmer because the radiation is reflected back to Earth. It goes like this and the clouds send it back. So that's the cycle. And that cycle is maintained by a certain proportion of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And the right proportion is 250 ppm, 250 parts per million. A very small amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is sufficient and necessary for life to be sustained on the planet, 250 ppm. Since the Industrial Revolution, it has kept going up and it has exponentially risen over the last 50 to 70 years. How many ppm do we see today, ppm of CO2?
500?
Not yet, though we'll reach there. Yeah? No, 430. 2025, 430. It can be more than 430. We await the latest data. The fresh and more tragic news, they just keep rolling every 6 months. And we know what the next round of numbers is going to look like. So 430 ppm, which means that our atmosphere is storing a lot of heat energy. And that heat energy shows up in many ways, obviously, in higher temperatures, in higher wind speeds, in different patterns of rainfall. You know, the system has more energy now, so it will do a lot of insane things, like a man gone wild, like the earth has fever. So a lot of insane things will happen. No, there is more energy. And that more energy will be dissipated somewhere. So you have greater number of cyclones. And those cyclones have higher intensity and precipitation. There will be places that will have no precipitation at all. So all the populations there will have to migrate because agriculture won't be possible anymore. No rains, no precipitation, nothing. And there will be places that will be inundated, flooded all the time. You may have floods here in Dubai. It's possible. The Sahara Desert is a result of climate change. Do you know that? The Indus Valley civilization, we used to think that it had been destroyed by the Aryans or been assimilated into the Aryan civilization. More and more evidence is now emerging that be it the Indus Valley people or even the Chola Empire in the south of India, they disappeared as a result of climate change. Just that, then the climate change was not anthropogenic, not man-made. This time it's man-made. Can you imagine the Sahara Desert was once a flourishing rainforest, not just a forest, a flourishing rainforest, what you call today as the barren, large, vast swaths of the Sahara. So any green place can become like that in absence of rainfall if rainfall's pattern shift as they are doing today. As they are doing today. Are you getting it? When you understand all this, when you understand the bigger picture, only then you can respond to those local events that our friend here mentioned. Otherwise, it's a very insignificant thing. 400 acres is not a large piece of land, is it? Okay, fine. From a small farmer's point of view, 400 acres is large. But otherwise, when you look at a state like Telangana, what is 400 acres? Nothing. It's just a tract next to the university where they want to set up an IT park and they want to attract investments. So they're saying 400 acres, fine. What's 400 acres? Nothing. And it won't mean to you or matter much to you if you are not well versed in the macro. If you do not understand that we are a very unique species, uniquely unfortunate species, and even more uniquely unfortunate generation of that species, then you will realize your responsibility. To realize your responsibility, sir, first of all, you have to realize your predicament, your situation, your position. If we do not know where we are located, how will we know what our responsibility is? What kind of world do you want to leave behind for them? I'm referring to the kids.
This question only, like, if I don't know where I'm located, what will be my responsibility? That was my question.
Exactly. If I do not know where I'm located, how do I know which road to take? Can you? If you do not know what your current situation is, how will you know the route to take and whether to move at all? I might think wherever I am, that place is my home. You have to first of all understand what the whole thing is like. Who am I and what my relationship with all this is. And it is no more a thing of the future. It is no more a thing of the future. Kindly Google on what the doomsday clock shows today. What the doomsday clock shows today. How close are we to Armageddon? It's here, it's upon us, right now. And just sporadically raising your voice when an incident like this one happens won't help. It has to be something that shows up in our daily life, in our daily choices, in our thoughts, in our relationships, in our behavior, in everything. It has to, it's not something that you can go to the government for. It's something that you have to be conscious of when first of all you choose your government. Where in these manifestos, in these various political manifestos, is climate change? And why should I vote for someone who is so uneducated that even being a leader, Even being a representative of an entire political party, he does not even know what climate change is. Why should I vote for such a person? But we do. Don't we? And there are so many angles to this. I mean, we could go on and on. I come here and it becomes difficult to find good vegetarian food. And it's still relatively easy here because we have a large population of South Indians and South Asians and Indians in particular. But there are so many countries in the world that call themselves developed countries, and if you go there, good vegetarian stuff, let alone vegan. Now, veganism is a far cry. Even good vegetarian stuff will not be easy to find. Do we understand that when it comes to climate change, the second most important factor, causing factor, is food choices? We are talking of felling of trees, and so many of us want to protest. But do we understand that when forests are cleared, they are cleared largely for the sake of agriculture? Do we understand that? And do we understand that when it comes to agriculture, 70% of agriculture is not for human consumption, but for livestock consumption, so that cattle may eat and then you may eat the cattle. It's not about just 400 acres. Entire forests are being cleared every day so that we have more land for agriculture. And what will we do with the produce? What will we do with the crops that we raise there? We'll feed them to the goat, to the sheep, to the cows and buffaloes, so that we can then slaughter them and eat their mutton or beef. This planet is almost gone and nobody wants to talk of it. And just as you do not want to depend on a leader to take up your case, similarly, you cannot depend on media to bring these things to you. The media will not bring these things to you because the media is in the hands of the same people who are in the first place direct beneficiaries of all the devastation. Why will they allow the news to reach you? They will not talk about it, but you have to talk about it. Fortunately, you have social media. You can talk about it. You will never find this as primetime news anywhere. They will not take it up, not because they are ignorant, but because they are very cunning and very greedy and very self-centered. They will not let the news reach you. Billions of dollars are spent just on climate denialism, just to make you feel all this is a bit of a hoax. And even if you're not convinced it's a hoax, you are at least confused. And when you're confused, you don't want to take a tough stance. I could speak for 3 hours on it, and I want to. Just that you have so many other things to talk of. But this is the most important thing. What else can we talk of today? This is it. To speak, you need a mouth. To have a mouth, you need a body. To have a body, you need a planet. So how do we talk of, my boyfriend is not listening to me? Sir, what do I do? I mean, neither you nor your boyfriend is going to remain when the planet itself is disappearing and burning. And my pain is not so much that this evil species of ours is going to disappear. My pain is that with us, we will be sinking billions of innocent species who have done nothing. And they will be they are the first They already are the first to bear the brunt and go extinct. And even among human beings, our species, you know who are the ones who will be the worst victims of climate change? The ones who are innocent, the ones who have contributed very little to the deterioration of the climate. This is called climate injustice. The ones who are really responsible, they will suffer the least. And they will be the last to depart. And they might as well depart to Mars. That's what they are already planning. You know, having killed the planet, let's run away to Mars and leave all these, you know, commoners behind to die here. We are a privileged species, they say. And even among our species, the members of our species, I am somebody with a privileged DNA. Let me proliferate my DNA as much as I can. All these are inferior beings. They better disappear. Isn't that what Darwin said? Survival of the fittest. I am the fittest. I will survive. Some bureaucrat sitting somewhere must have taken the decision. As far as I can remember, when I wrote the UPSC exam, even the general studies paper in UPSC, which in general has quite a detailed syllabus that covers all aspects of general knowledge quite decently. But this thing I do not remember, at least then, covered in adequate measure. So I'm not sure the bureaucrat who ordered the felling of trees was himself well educated in this matter. Not my opinion. These are hard numbers. Hard numbers. Carbon dioxide ppm you can measure. The number of extreme weather events per year at any place, that too you can measure. These are all numerical. These are not somebody's ideas or opinions or imaginations. I'm not dreaming it up. This is hard data. You cannot deny it. Now, do we need a leader? Do we want to depend on the media? What are we waiting for then?
That's actually media's job, right? I mean,
they are not doing their job.
They're not
right.
doing their
they're
job.
Not doing
right?
their job. So what do we do then?
Yeah, I mean,
just complain that they're not doing their job, or rather take the job in our own hands.
Our own hands.
That's what.
Yes, that's how.
The house is burning and the fire engine isn't arriving. What do I do? Stand and lament and complain and cry? Or do whatever I can? My house right now is on fire. It's our house, it's your house. It's not just our house, it's our body. It's the very self that's been set on fire by our own ignorance.
Regarding this one, everyone knows these things. And also in our school curriculum, college, all they knows about
No,
things.
They don't know these things. No. When I asked you, what's the current ppm of CO2? Did you know? No, you don't know.
Even the tree definition will not.
No, you don't know. No, nobody knows.
The exact data they don't know.
That's what is to be known. Exact data, sir. Without exact data, everything is just fluff. My word versus your word, general gossip, chit-chat, opinions that everybody has and that nobody respects. It's only hard data that can be respected. Hard data. And we are not in possession of hard data because we don't care enough. Otherwise, this data is publicly available. You can get it right now. And you don't have to go to various websites even. Now you have AI engines. Just go and ask chat, give me relevant data on climate change. Or say, I want to I want to know whether we are in a particularly critical stage of the climate crisis. Give me data to support or deny this, and then chat will tell you. Or you can go to the United Nations, the UNCC reports, and from there you will know. Otherwise, it's a stale idiom. Oh yes, global warming is happening. That's why it's so hot today, I'm sweating. It's some kind of a joke or what? So many jokes, random, nauseating jokes. Somebody comes to you in a presentation, the fellow is making a presentation and these people are sitting here and watching. Hey, we understand why you are sweating, it is global warming. Ha ha ha, let's laugh. Making fun of the greatest tragedy that this planet has ever seen. Not only just the greatest, probably the last one, the final tragedy. These changes operate on millennial time scales, which means when this happens, it's not going to just quickly return to business as usual. It will take millions of years and some other unknown random cosmological change for some other kind of life to emerge on this planet. Some asteroid may come and strike the Earth and spray a lot of water, and the planet might cool down, something, and that may happen 8 million years later. And then again you will have the little amoeba and life starting from there. Are you ready to wait that long? How many of us have enough patience to wait for 1 million or billion years for life to re-emerge and come back to these levels?